Dobar dan. Good afternoon. I'm first time in Zagreb, but being Lithuanian, I know very well Zagreb from my childhood when the basketball team of my hometown, Kaunas, was trying to beat Cibona in Zagreb, and I think we succeeded only when Dražen Petrov went to NBA. So thanks, Gordon, first of all, for this opportunity to be here. It's my pleasure to talk to you and address to this very interesting forum. And now let's concentrate on the topic. Let's say before I ask you what is resilience, let me present a bit more about my organization. You see there are a lot of text. There is a lot of text to illustrate, let's say, where I'm coming from. But to make it short, I'm working on an energy security group at the Joint Research Center in Ispra. And JRC is a DG of the European Commission, so it's Directorate General. But it's not a policy DG like we used to have DGs in Brussels. We are making research for policy support to policy DGs in Brussels. And basically, our work is kind of research that started, in fact, JRC was created under the Euratom Treaty in early 60s. And all sites that you see here, except from Sevilla in Spain, were nuclear sites in the beginning. I am coming from Ispra, my office in Ispra, and there you see, this is a very nice place, 70 kilometers north of Milano, close to Lago Maggiore, where we have 2 nuclear reactors, not operating anymore, but these are research reactors. And when this site was created, it was at that time least populated area in the region where nuclear reactors could have been built. My team is a joint team with another site in the Netherlands, in Petten, so where another nuclear reactor is still operating there. And you know, my primary boss, for example, he is in Petten, in the Netherlands, and we have a team that is divided. Half of us are in Ispra, half in Petten. So it's a complex and complicated organization because we work at complicated because we cover a lot of areas, starting from food security to nuclear safety. And for example, this famous diesel gate scandal of Volkswagen, it originates in Ispra because we have emission laboratory where they, in fact, discovered that something is going wrong. And then Americans took it over and find it out. So there are a lot of activities, and complexity is that we are working on 3 layers. Let's say we are working on research, policy, and even political layers. So this interacts and makes a bit complex the whole things. Shortly about our unit, we are working on energy security and security of supply as a primary kind of task. We have developed and working with models for gas and electricity supply at transmission and even for electricity at distribution levels. We are also working on resilience and protection of critical infrastructure, critical energy infrastructure. That's important to say that we are limited a bit to energy field. When I started to work on energy security, in Europe, there were over 10 countries 100% dependent on energy, gas supply from Russia. Now situation is completely different, it's much better. If you look at 10 years ago, for example, Finland and 3 Baltic states, they had only pipelines with supply from Russia. Now they don't import at all gas from Russia. So the situation is very different, but imagine situation like we have now would have happened with infrastructure that we had 10 years ago. So that would have been real disaster. I think we are in crisis already now. And then one point is here is that I think we also missed, in my own work, We're always concentrating on infrastructure, on supply side, but energy security is defined as a kind of guaranteed supply and affordable prices. And this prices element was a bit overlooked in that sense. And now we have this type of also price crisis here in Europe. But I can tell you, yesterday I had to miss one important session of this forum because we had urgent meeting with Brussels, with ENER, and we were discussing what kind of urgent actions could have been taken, where JRC could have been involved as well. So it's very well understood in Brussels that market is not working the way it is supposed to work, and we will have solutions and fixes coming soon. I hope we will overtake this crisis as well. So what is a resilience? We were talking about resilience in many presentations, in many talks here, but do we know what resilience is? Let's say, I'm sure that if we ask to define resilience, that would be, I would get many different answers. And that's normal, because in resilience, we are still, and it's an emerging term, but we are still working on it to understand and define it in a way that we would like to see it and agree, all of us. So it's first time, but it's interesting, first time resilience was used and in research in 1973, so almost 50 years ago, by one Canadian ecologist, Holling, who used this term in ecology research to look how species could adapt to changing environment and situation and survive. That was the original of using word resilience. Now it started recently to be used in kind of all infrastructure field and even beyond that. And there are many papers and research work on this topic, and you could find a lot of different definitions, different approaches. Here I list some what is called 4R approach, which is further complicated by different scales of at micro, meso, and macro scales. So you could see that, let's say, resilience is very broad, covers very broad area, and it could be interpreted very differently. So we are also have to look at resilience comes in the kind of environment of emerging hazards and threats. And here, hybrid attacks, cyber threats, these complicate the whole situation quite considerably. When I started to work on my research career, started with risk assessments in nuclear safety field. At that time, in more than 20 years ago, low probability, high consequence event was a kind of research top question that was trying to be answered. Now we have kind of black swan kind of phenomena, and for example, this is a question: is pandemics a black swan or not? Think about it. For sure, this is a low probability, high consequence event, but it is not a black swan. We know very well that this could happen. Black swan is something that we don't know what could happen. Is black swan explosions at Nord Stream? No. We know very well that this could happen. Very low probability, of course, very high consequence, that's true. But this is nothing unexpected. It's unexpected that it happened, but it's not that it cannot happen. So black swan is something different. It's a different layer. And this is why we see also resilience as different from risk. You cannot exchange completely resilience assessment, let's say, with risk assessment. These are a bit different things. One might be inside the other, but this is to be discussed, and we are working on this. Being mathematicians, I cannot avoid this type of graphs and curves, but I promise there will be no integrals further in this presentation. We did recently, because we want to measure, if we talk about resilience, we want to measure it. What is risk we can measure? And risk is very well defined still in 1981 by a famous paper written by Kaplan and Garrick on definition of risk in the first Journal of Risk Analysis. So that is, we can measure it and we can say, okay, this thing is very riskier than the other thing. To take a flight is 100 times safer than to take a car. And this, from risk analysis point of view, we perfectly can estimate, evaluate, and quantify it. With resilience, it's a bit different. So we tried to see how we can measure resilience. We published a report. The approach that we took there was kind of to work on indicator analysis. Okay, indicator analysis is not complete kind of, it's a semi-quantitative tool, I would say. This report is freely available. Unfortunately, it's not downloadable because it's my fault. I did a mistake registering the report, and it's available, but you cannot download it from our publication system. So you have to send me an email, and I will send it to you. I would be happy to do it. We also work with ASREDA. JRC, by the way, is a founding member of ASREDA. ASREDA is a European Safety, Reliability and Data Association. We had a project group on resilience with them, led by Nottingham University. Here is a book that you could obtain directly from ASREDA. And there is a still need to work on resilience further. So we will create another project group recently, and everyone who is willing to collaborate is ready. You don't need to become a member of ASREDA. You might consider it, but it's not obligatory in order to work in project groups of ASREDA. So just contact me, and I will provide you further information. By the way, in ISPRA next year, we plan to organize a seminar, ASREDA seminar on resilience. So if you wish to come and visit us, you're welcome. I think that would be a big opportunity. It's still not, let's say, confirmed, but we are planning it. So I just announced it a bit in advance. At the JRC, we also did 2 tabletop exercises together with NATO Energy Security Center. And our tabletop exercises kind of provide input to resilience. That's true. Yes, it's in this kind of area of resilience. By the way, these exercises, and CORE is an abbreviation of coherent resilience. So it's just inside the name of these exercises. And these exercises reports are already available. One was done in 2019. On gas infrastructure in the Baltic states. Another one was done in last year on electricity infrastructure and coming synchronization with European grid. Also, reports are fully available. If you just Google the EU publication portal and Core 21, you will get it immediately. It's freely available. What is going to be in the future? We know that there is a directive on critical infrastructures that was published in force since 2008. There is another proposal that is called SER proposal. It's proposed already in 2020, still under consideration. It's on resilience of critical entities. So that is, there is a shift in policy. The shift in Brussels, let's say, we go from purely critical infrastructure protection to kind of resilience of critical entities. And that's something to consider. If you go to Brussels, well, put resilience in your portfolio and know what it means. So, okay, I think I'm here with concluding remarks. There is one problem that I want to address. I do have solution at the moment, but it's very critical. We're always behind with regulation. We're always behind we're kind of following real events, and that is a challenge. I would call it a problem, but in Brussels we don't like problems. We like challenges. So we have to adapt and somehow to be ready to go a little beyond one step further and to somehow be ready with the regulations and our approaches before something happens, not to follow the events after, which is usually the typical case that is happening. So we are still working on resilience research, and you are welcome to join our efforts and to contribute. And because at the end we are publishing books where you could also be contributors with your papers and with your research. Before going to this kind of discussion, I would like to say one kind of, already I'm entering closing session of this event. Recently, I think when Astarovich, who is our advisor to the president of Ukraine, he was visiting Vilnius, and he said, Russian army is not strong; it's just long. I think this is very nice kind of generalization, but, and I know this from basketball, we should never underestimate our enemy, because we lose not when we are weaker, we lose when we think that it's already an easy win. So these things happens, and with that I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.